Good morning, students. Is my voice is audible? Yes, thank you for the acknowledgement. So today also we are going to discuss about a project, and yesterday's session have give you a simple orientation that consists of some of the fundamental concepts only, right? But in today's project, that I have incorporated some more additional concepts starting from Unit 1, as well as some of the concepts which has been shown as uh, a theoretical demonstration. Now you could able to see it practically, some of the concepts. So that's also being raised over there. So that's the idea to travel into today's session. After yesterday's session, how many of you have started working with the project? After yesterday's session, how many of you have started working with the project? Post your answers in the chat. Sir, after yesterday's session, I have started working with the project. Yes, we found some honest answers are there. Fine, I am expecting everyone to proceed with your project so that you could able to travel further with your course as well as towards your placement and higher studies, right? So both of them are expecting, both your campus recruiters as well as the place where you are going to carry over your higher studies. Both of them are expecting what are all the projects that you have made out during your undergraduate degree, undergraduate program, right? So make sure that you create or made yourself the exposure on a common theme of project that you are ready to run always. Fine. So if possible, we will see two projects today, depending upon the time consumption. So we will directly get it into the GitHub because today I want to demonstrate through the GitHub. So this is the first project that we are going to talk about on hotel management system that comprises of both billing also. Starting from accommodation, everything has been planted. Let us see how this works out. What are all the learnings we have in that project? Right, this is the project. Don't worry about number of lines. When you are going to write very detailedly, you will come to know about the content. Okay, so don't worry about all those things. Just come for the main method. Right, always you start when you are going to perform your bottom-up approach. Check for where is your main method. Right, from that you could able to travel further. Fine. Here is your main method, right? Check that. So here within exception handling, right, within the try block, they want to do this here. What they are trying to do, they are creating a backup using that file class, right? So that backup is going to be your the complete data. They are ready to check, might be if it exists or not. What are the things they are ready to back up? They are ready to store what are all the objects which are used in this project. See, the concept has been learned in some other way, right? But the interpretation will something different here. What they are ready to store? They are ready to store What are all the objects that are created for this work? What is the purpose of backupping that objects? What does it represents actually? When you come for the methods, when you come for the individual classes, the class which are responsible for getting data, the class which are responsible for getting data. So what are all the classes which are supplying data? When you come for the yes, see this double room. There is a class called a double room. It is receiving data. Check that we have used a built-in interface called serializable. Here also you could be able to see that serializable. This interface is available inside our IO package. Food, right? These are all the classes which are responsible for receiving data from the user. Okay. So food, single room, double room, right? So these are all the places where we will receive the data, right? So why we are making the backup there? What does it mean? We are backing up the objects. What is the purpose of backing up the objects? Because serializable, the interface, what is the purpose of this? It will convert the object into stream of bytes. If we talk very practically, if my object need to travel in the network, I need to serialize the object. That's a second level explanation. Okay, to convert object into series of bytes. See, uh, the object only will carry all these quantities: item number, quantity, price. So a single object which is ready to point towards three different data members in the class. Using a single object, we are accessing everything, right? So the property of persistent along with the usage must be preserved, right? How to do that? By using this serializable interface, we could able to perform that. So what are all the objects that you are taking for food class? That particular object will made to be serialized, right? What is mean by deserialization? The process of converting the stream of bytes into object, because both are essential when we are going to work with a client server based approach, or when we are going to deploy our project in a open network. So in that case, the property of serialization and deserialization both are mandatory, right? So when we are going to use serialization, by default deserialization will occur, right, in the places. No need to use any specific keyword for deserialization. By default it will happen, right? So when the reverse transfer is going to happen, or when the data is flowing from destination to source, there also the process of deserialization will happen automatically. No need to write any specific code for that, right? So that's called the usage of serializable. That is the reason why we are preserving the objects instead of preserving. See, this is a unique property that Java is providing. It's not available in your C and C++. Why we are preserving the objects? Because object knows what it was doing, right? So how to preserve it? That can be done through my serialization. What is mean by serialization? The process of converting object into stream of bytes. Okay, so that's the thing. So please hold on, there is a technical which is happening in my machine. I'll join you within 30 seconds. Okay, it was rectified. So that's the stage. And uh, pertaining to security aspect, you have one more keyword that you need to learn in Java. What is that keyword? Transient. Okay, so it's nothing but transient. So this could be the keyword transient. What is the purpose of this transient keyword? Right? If you want to block any object that should not be serialized, you have to use this keyword transient, right? So whenever the object is created inside the program, if you prefix this keyword transient, by default the object cannot be serialized, right? If you want that your object should not travel in network, if you use this keyword transient, ultimately you cannot serialize the object, right? So please remember, if you don't want your object to be serialized, ultimately you have to use the keyword transient. It will stop the process of serialization, right? So please remember. So I think the keywords that what we have seen during our first unit, just to revisit that any of the keywords that we have not seen, so you could able to bring it our notice. So these are all some of the keywords that being introduced specifically in Java pertaining to object-oriented programming, how we are using our object effectively. Those things must be learned through these types of projects only. Normally, what we are doing with our object, an object is used to access the members of the class. We are accessing the method or we are accessing the variable outside, variable available inside the class. Apart from this, what we can do with the object, right? Apart from this, so please go through and travel in that fashion. You could be able to find some interesting things. What is the feature of persistence, right? Persistence, that means the object will remember what it has stored. So what is the relationship between persistence and the static, right? So when I'm going to use static storage class along with a variable, how it is going to behave, right? So what's the relationship between the static variable and a persistent object, right? So if you have to learn in that aspect. So now we have introduced two items, serialization and transient. So what would be the role of object pertaining to serialization and transient, right? So likewise, more scope is there while we are going to work with object-oriented programming. We should not restrict ourselves in that place where we are going to move it, right? So you have to come out of the box and move forward, right? So let us get into this project. So you could able to see that in the main method they are backing up the objects that what they are using. So let us go back to the main method. They are getting the input, okay? They are going for two streams, such that, okay, they are going for two streams, file input stream and object input stream. The reason to use this read object purely for your serialization only. So they are reading an input here, and you could be able to see there are two integers and one character they want to come up with. See that x colon, what does it represent? It represents that they are ready to give a take deviation board here. Somewhere else they'll be using their corresponding deviation in the program. So in the do while program, they are ready to display a menu. What is they are displaying this menu? Display room details, display room availability, book, order food, checkout, exit. This is the main menu, right? Again, submenu for each and every option. So the first option, display room details. What are all the options are available? Under option 1, submenu, luxury double room, deluxe double room, luxury single room, deluxe single room. Likewise, 4 room types has been mentioned over there. Okay. So likewise, for even for my display room availability, along with the 4 types of room, how much could be the availability, and likewise for 3, which room that I need to book. So that has been given over there. And regarding order food, okay, so that's also you are having an option. Checkout also you are having that option, right? So based upon that you could be able to travel, as well as for the room that we have some constraints also, right? For room we have some constraints also, that is also being passed over with these things. As well as if I'm going to check out, what I need to do, I need to use the method deallocate. That has been mentioned in your case file, right? That you could be able to see. So, and here you could be able to see order your method, right? See that methods that are necessary for us. Order, in case where you could be able to see deallocate, okay? Case we could be able to see deallocate. Features, there is a method, and availability is the next method. Book room is the next method. So these are all the methods which will reflect the functional requirements. Okay, functional requirements. So what about, already have conveyed you, right? So for your particular project, what I have to do? That has to be listed as requirements. Requirements must be converted into algorithm. Each and every step in the algorithm must be converted into a corresponding line of program, right? So that could be the thing that we need to come over with. Now we will penetrate into each and every method that what they are ready to convey, as well as while we are going to close the method, right? So what is the option that we need to receive? Yesterday we have seen, right? That's ready to run with a yes or no, right? And also here we could able to see that this project can be accessible across the network, right? So that is the reason why at a time n number of clerks will ready to access this. That is the reason why here I could able to use my multi-threading. Tomorrow we will see. Tomorrow onwards we are going to insert our fourth unit. Then we will see the purpose of this multi-threading, right? So we will see very in detail. So might be this statement will not give much impact on this project work, because we are not going to do anything on parallelly. But as a complete application at a time, n number of users can access this application in internet, and they could be able to use this project, right? For the purpose only this thread has been created here, right? So now we will penetrate into each and every method. So order method, what they are ordering, right? What they are ordering. So they have a menu for order also. See that sandwich, it was mentioned with the rate. Pasta, it is also mentioned with the rate. Noodles, it is also mentioned with the rate. Coke, it is also mentioned with the rate. So within the tray block that you could able to see. And there is a do while menu, there we are ready to receive, as well as we are ready to receive how much the quantity would be, right? So in turn, it is ready to call for the type of room, the food that we are going to add. Everything is being mapped with it, because it would be mapped with the billing also, right? That is the reason why it has been projected like this. Okay, again within that order method, since whether I want to continue further or I need to exit. So for the purpose only that we are running with a y again, right? So if it is going to be capital Y or small y, that you could able to move forward. See in the previous iteration, that previous project, that we could able to see equals ignore case. Instead of that, here we are directly using double equal, right? That is also being applicable when we are going to work with these types of options, right? So in this corresponding thing, we are ready to pass two arguments. First one is room number, second one is room type. Okay, so that could be the identity of this order method, right? I have used the static keyword. What's the purpose of static keyword? Without creating the object, I am ready to access this method. And to be able to see the next method, deallocate, right? While we are going to deallocate, that means while we are going to perform checkout, what are all the things that I need to do with them. Here you could be able to see two things. First one is check with the case one. It is ready to check with it depending upon the room type. Room type, I have to perform my billing, right? That is the first case. Second case, already if your room is empty, I should not go and empty it again, right? So that can be checked with a normal if condition. So the occupied room is going to be checked out. That is the first condition. Second thing, bill will be varying from type of room. So when this bill is going to be generated, when I'm going to check out, right? That could be the case that it should be made. When I'm going to mark it as null, so when I'm going to make it mark it as null after bill is generated, right? If it is made to be null, ultimately it states that that particular room is empty. That I could be able to mention with that. How bill is generated? Bill is generated using room type and room number, right? We have a method called bill. We'll go and see what is that method bill. Here is the method bill, right? Room number and room type. So you have that corresponding items that whatever we have given in that menu, food menu, right? So for the food menu, so if it is a case one, depending upon the room type, okay, depending upon the room type, the amount has been initialized over there. Along with the room charge, food charges also being incorporated. Along with that, what we are doing, we are ready to mention with the corresponding quantity and the price. So it will generate like a printed bill format. That is the reason why we are ready to iterate on that. Okay. So here we are ready to use an iterative structure because depending upon the number of quantity and the constraint, it is going to move over on that. See how we are using your formatted string in your C, right? So you will be using within double quotes, you will be using some format specifiers. Likewise in Java also we could be able to use it here using that string keyword, right? I could be able to mention like that. So it is ready to project me, right? What it will print. So it will ready to project me what are all the items that I have used. What is the corresponding quantity? What is the corresponding price? So along with the room charge, what about that restaurant bill also? That is also being accompanied over there. So how they have disported that depending upon the room type, they are going to vary it because for every room they have the charge will be different. So based using that constraint, they have differentiated these things. In this place, you can think in some other way. So how can we create the bill in a easier way, right? They have given something on a complex fashion. That why don't you simplify it and move forward, right? So that could be the idea. I want to fetch it over here, right? And also here in the for loop, you could able to see that I have used for each because we are going to work with the heterogeneous, homogeneous type of elements. So no need to travel further. Okay. So because we are ultimately we are going to print one item by one item only. That is the reason why for each also used in this functionality. See that what are all the concepts we have come across. First we have started with the serialization, transient, but in this project we have not used transient. Just for your understanding, I have given you. So exception handling we have learned, serialization we have learned. So next thing that what are the things that it has been used in the project, right? Switch case, the basic control structure that we have seen. For each, the next control structure that what we have studied. If the control structure what we have studied, it has been used. Okay, file programming what we have studied, it has been used. Multi-threading tomorrow we are going to study. So likewise, all the concepts that whatever you have studied that must be encompassed and you have to use it in the correct place. That's what the role of your project work, right? So likewise, you have depending upon the room types, you are having the 4 cases. Otherwise, it is going to print the null. So finally, the total amount will get to be printed, right? So we have seen how to check out and how to generate the bill. Both of the content that we have seen here. Okay. So and again, the preliminary contents what we have to go across. Availability, right? So whenever I am going to go for booking, I have to check for this availability, right? So that's the major case. That could be the idea. So we have to see those things in a case by case basis. So when I'm going to book the room, right? When I'm going to book the room, what I'm going to do, I'll show you, right? So this could be the basic class where we are receiving all the inputs from the serializable classes. Class hotel, right? So in this class only I'm receiving all the details, right? First we will check how they are doing the process of availability. Before that, they want to exhibit the features available in the corresponding residency, right? So I think this the void features, this method will show me. Suppose if I'm going to mention type 1 room, So it is going to show me the features: AC, free breakfast, charge per day 4,000 rupees. So depending upon the room type, that I could able to see all these options, right? Four types of rooms are available in that residency. So four types of data are being displayed using this switch case as a menu that you could able to see that. Next one is availabilities. Check this usage. If depending upon the case that I am going to travel, right? So make sure that the common availability is going to be, overall availability is going to be 10. Make sure that depending upon the case that availability vary. How you will find it availability? How many number of nulls are there in the particular type of room? How many number of nulls are there? Because already I have shown you, right? While we are going to deallocate the room, we are for the corresponding room number, I am going to make it as null. That states that the room is vacant, right? How many number of nulls are there? So that many number of nulls is nothing but that many number of rooms available in the particular category. Count the number of nulls. That's what they are doing in the four types of room cases, right? So by that they will come for the thing. So it will list out number of rooms available after coming out of each and every case that I could be able to find it out. So for example, if I'm going to pass luxury double room means it will get into the case one, it will find out how many number of luxury rooms are empty. It will come out finally coming out of the switch case. It will print number of rooms available. It will tell the count of luxury double rooms. That's all, right? So that is the case that it has been projected over there. So this features and availability is a mandatory thing when you are going for the room booking, right? So that's the thing that I want to show it over here. And also here you could be able to see not available. I have seen that not available. They have used it. I think here is a chance for us to learn again, relearn again. Throw keyword. What is the purpose of throw keyword? Right? They are using they are throwing a method not available. What was written in that method? Not available. Not available. Not available has been written as a separate method, right? So that method, see here, here is the not available method, right? They have incorporated as a user defined exception, right? They have incorporated as a user defined exception. If I'm going to use throw new not available, what will happen? It will generate the statement not available. That's all, right? That means it will print the statement not available. That is what it is ready to generate. So class not available extends exception. Here I am generating the user defined exception. See that till now you have come across only built-in exception. I think in the user defined exception handling, Gayatri ma'am have conveyed you how to create a user defined exception. So this is a simple procedure to create only the system message, right? System message I am creating for my project. I am creating this message. So this is the message that is being thrown over there. Suppose if the rooms are not available, that it is ready to generate this exception, right? User defined exception. It will convey you not available, right? So that's the case. That is the case, not available. Yes. This is the method for booking the room. So what they want to do, so they want to choose from the corresponding room number. So how many rooms are there? How many rooms are there initially, right? How many rooms are there? Here they have allocated arrays for the rooms, right? Luxury double room, 10 rooms are there. Deluxe double room, 20 rooms are there. Luxury single room, 10 rooms are there. Deluxe single room, 20 rooms are there. All are array locations, right? When it is going to be replaced with null, the corresponding count will be restored. That is the reason why they are replacing it with null, right? That could be a count for them. So these are all the counts. Okay, these are all the counts. So what are all the inputs we are receiving from the user? Okay. So before booking the room, right? So that has been collected through a method. I'll show you. So we are going to process the room number. That number will be entered by the clerk. Count of corresponding room will be detected after allocating, right? That must be done. Suppose if the particular room number is not available, If it is already booked, it will be marked. It will not be marked with null. Some room number will be there. In that case only, it will throw exception. That room is not available, right? That room is not available. So in that case, I need to receive the customer details. If I'm going to ready for booking, cust details. That is the method which will receive the input. See, for every case, these are all common, right? So when it is going to book a room, iteratively the loop is running. When it is going to book a room, whenever I am going to face the null, ultimately that will throw the exception. I cannot book that room, right? That room is available or not. That can be identified through that null keyword only. If the particular room has been chosen, ultimately from the total count it will be subtracted. That is what happening, rn minus minus, right? So that has been projected over there. Okay, cust details. What is available in the method? In the particular room, who are all the customers? That's what cust details I comma rn. What is cust details? So in the particular room, who are all staying? So for that, we are receiving the input. So we are ready to receive the name, contact, gender. Okay. So here we are ready to receive the second customer name also, contact number and gender. And we are making a limitation over on that, right? So I should be less than 3. That could be the room constraint that we are ready to project over there. So depending upon the data, we will be posting into the corresponding constructor. This is the place where my serialization will come into picture, right? Customer details will be stored depending upon the room type, what has been chosen by them, right? So in that category only, that corresponding data will be stacked, right? So please remember, depending upon the room type only, the corresponding data will be stacked over on that, right? So that is the idea and case here. So likewise, I could be able to stack the data, right? Customer details are being entered, okay? Number of rooms are there, and user defined exception also mentioned over here. And also you could be able to see here. So for every type of room that we have created, right? See here we have used inheritance as well as interface. We are using built-in interface, but we are ready to use single room as a inheritance here. What is single room? What is single room? See, again we have created a single room. See that single room data is being mapped with the double room. Here we have followed only a simple inheritance, right? Single room, we are having 3 data. What are all they? Name, contact, and gender. I am using collections, right? See that I am using collections. So this is what we have learned in our data collections, right? Pertaining to util package, we have seen types of data structures in Java. So through that, so if I'm not going to supply any name, it is ready to ask me again, right? The default constructor. Otherwise, while I'm going to book, what are the cust details I'm going to pass, that will be received via this parameterized constructor only. Single room of corresponding name, contact, and gender. If it is a single room, if it's a double room, what's happening? Along with that, first customer data, it is retrieving from that. Second customer data is being used from the corresponding double room. That means we are checking the condition, right? I should be less than 3. That means double room, they are restricting only to 2 members only. Single room, they are restricting only to 1 member only, right? Here you can customize and move forward your project. How can you customize? For example, if a child is going to accommodate, so how you are going to change in the single room? How you are going to change in the double room? The child is going to allocate it. If two children are going to come, how can you customize this project further? That you could be able to think it over on there, right? So that could be the case. And also one more thing I want to point out here is, in that array list we have mapped with the class, right? We have mapped with the class. Please remember, we have mapped with the class food, right? So how we are going to manage with that? Then that is the place that we need to bring it over on all types of data we are using with this here, right? Now, what are all the inputs that we are receiving in the food class? Right? This is based upon our restaurant menu. Remember, based upon our restaurant menu. So, what about our restaurant menu? Our restaurant menu consists of 4 items are there: sandwich, pasta, noodles, cake. Right? So, depending upon that, billing quotient will be generated here. Right? Check with that. See that. item number, quantity, price. So when the food is going to be ordered, by default the price is complete. So that is the case. Okay. So item number and quantity. So for the corresponding item number, since they are using this keyword, corresponding object being referenced will be monitored here. So that could be the major case that we are ready to discuss with here. So corresponding data will be retrieved back. That's what I am telling. What are the places where food is going to travel, that is completely serialized depending upon the objects, right? That is the case. And one more important thing that I want to talk about, probably I think best day to talk about this is tomorrow only, but anyway I will convey you what was there, because I have shown you multi-threading, right? So at a time more than one user access this application from the internet, right? So what could be the major case? Here they will be using a run method. Within the run method only total logic will be invoked. Then I will show you a demo also tomorrow on this. Yeah, here is your yes. This is the place where they are creating the thread that could be completely serializable, right? If an object is being created over there, that object is serializable throughout that session. Okay, so that can be done over on that. That's what. So within that run method, they want to mention normal run method is being overdone here. We will understand why it was, right? So at a time, n number of users can access this by creating the object and access this application. That object is completely serializable so that it could able to remember what it was doing. Everything can be mapped and retrieved, right? So that could be the complete idea of this project. Okay, so that is the case. So I think this project have covered whatever we have studied till now, right? It talked about collections, it talked about the control sectors, right? It talked about different types of variables, right? Even advanced formatting, okay? File programming, right? So different types of entities that we have released on them, okay? So by this, I think I could be able to share you some one more project, but due to time constraint, we could not able to discuss further. Even we have used the package also here, right? So if you have any clarification, just post me in the chat. So by today, we are completing our third unit. Tomorrow onwards, fourth unit will be incepted, and weekly test 4 also ready to commence. Please go through the PPTs used for the respective unit. Do not study everything, okay? Because we have consolidated all the PPTs. So go through the PPTs. It is enough for you to prepare for the MCQs. Okay. So that's the case. If you have any doubts, kindly share it in the chat box.